Situations and conversations with Trey Renee. Real situations, real conversations. Empowering the community leads to elevation. Entertainment and education, no better time than now. Pure enlightenment for the crowd. This is Situations and Conversations with Trey Renee.
Welcome to Trey's Top 10. I'm Jeremiah Stroup, and let me promise you this. What you're about to watch isn't just television. It's a front row seat to the conversations that sparked change and inspired our community. For nearly 30 years, I've been working to cultivate culture here in the Pacific Northwest, and you may have seen me every Friday on Everyday Northwest hosting my segment, The Juice, where we squeeze the best from the Pacific Northwest and beyond. But here's the truth. No voice has carried further, connected deeper, or inspired more than that of my co-host today. She's an Emmy Award-winning host, a champion for voices that need to be heard, and one of the most authentic storytellers I know. Please welcome to our show, the one and only Trey Renee.
Oh my God!
Hey Trey, how you doing?
I think I need that like as an alarm wake up like every day so I can feel really good. That was awesome. Thank you for having me here.
I meant every word, and yes, you may use that as your morning affirmations if you so choose to. Well, today we're talking about a very kind of heavy topic that I think has touched a lot of people, but I'm so excited that we get to revisit this conversation with you.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, when we talk about addiction, it's not just about the individual, it's really about the community, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, really, this is Trey's Top 10, so one of my favorite episodes, but not because it was the most lighthearted topic, but because it's extremely informative. And when we talk about addiction, we're talking about communities of people who are humans and real people who are going through real things. This is a sickness. I'm trying to get rid of some of that stigma and allow people to see that there are resources out here, there's help out here, and most importantly, there's support and healing.
I think a lot of us have seen people wandering the streets and we say, okay, that person is struggling. But everyday people struggle. Maybe it's social media addiction, maybe it's other vices. So we all can fall into that trap.
Absolutely.
And if we have empathy, which I know you are all about, we can maybe reach out and help those people out of that dark place.
Well, that's exactly what we're trying to do. And so in this particular episode, I'm hoping that it'll help anyone and everyone. Even if you're struggling with it, somebody somewhere has been touched by it.
Well, that's what makes these conversations so impactful and so special. So let's go back and revisit this conversation with Trey Renee.
Hey, welcome to Situations and Conversations. I am your host, Trey Renee. And you know, sometimes we need help. Sometimes when folks need or are even offering help, their voices can fall on deaf ears because they only hear, "You've never walked in my shoes." Well, not today. Today we have Deandre Kenyanjui, I like saying that name, it's really cool, on both sides of the addiction and recovery support. He's walked in those shoes for real. And he's here to share the story of his addiction journey and shed light on the amazing work he's doing now to support others. Welcome to the show, Deandre.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, I've already told the people that you've walked on both sides of this issue. You have had addiction issues. You've also been working with recovery. So why don't we take it all the way back and tell us about how you got addicted and to what, and like, what's your backstory?
From Portland, grew up here. Thinking back on my situation, I look at it differently now, and I realized that there was normalized abuse in my household. So I grew up around a lot of different stuff, single family parent household. So I started using alcohol when I was like 12, and alcohol was normalized. Like it was something that we did in the family, dominoes, spades,
and the
cookouts.
Grown-ups let the kids drink and it was all
The grown-ups
good.
would sneak us drinks, like don't tell your mama, you know what I mean? It was a normalized thing. So I never was able to put that into the category of addiction. I thought it was just something that we do.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you are, 12-year-old Deandre, starting to get your first little sips of alcohol. And what you know now is that can also change the chemistry in your brain, and you're young, right, at that point, so everything, your whole body chemistry can change. And so did you start to find yourself needing it?
No, I'd say it didn't start with me being addicted to it and needing it. It was more of I felt comfortable in my own body. Like I felt like I could talk to anybody, do anything. It It relaxed me, and I didn't know that that was the effect that, you know, a substance would have on me. So that was like the initial thing that happened, was just like, oh, I felt relaxed. Everybody else is doing it.
Right.
You know, I fit in with my older relatives. Like, we good. We conversate now. I can, you know, I'm a grown up. You know, I felt like I was a part of.
Okay. So there was this feeling of inclusiveness.
100%.
Okay. So then what happened then? Like, you graduated from alcohol to?
Yeah. So I say it just like from the first time I remember my first experience, I was about where I was like really intoxicated, and I was like 12 or 13 years old, and I can identify now, but back then I didn't know I had a problem, because like most people who get sick and throw up and have a hangover don't want to drink again, and I couldn't wait to do it again.
Okay, so then now you're a tween, kind of a teen, right? And what are you drinking? Going to school? Are you like, talk to me about how
I mean,
this progressed?
I played sports, and so I mean, even before my football games, I would drink. During lunch break, we smoke weed, we drink. It was just normal, you know? And so I didn't see the progression of what we call the disease of addiction, right? So it was just something I did every day, and it was just normal.
And so when did you start to see that it was causing a problem?
Long down the road. It was a lot further, right? Like, so we have sayings in recovery that like the disease is progressive, like, you know what I mean? So it was drinking alcohol and more of it, and from beer to liquor to smoking weed every day. And so I think about, you know, I went to college, got kicked out of college, you know.
Oh, wait a minute.
You know what I mean?
Wait.
Yeah.
So you went to college and got kicked out of college because, are you equating that to
it was definitely connected to
the substance abuse?
To the substance abuse, but I didn't know that then, you know what I mean? It was, a lot of my behavior was normalized in my family, like violence, and that enhanced it. So like, you know, when I was 18, I got shot, and I was, you know, got involved in gangs, and we went down the wrong road, and a lot of that was like substance induced as well.
Did you sell drugs?
Yes.
And so when you were around those drugs, were you using those too?
Nope. At first, it was like I said, I would never do it, right?
Okay.
Like, there's this myth in the black community especially, that like, if I don't do this substance, I don't got a problem, right? So like, you'll see a lot of kids do it now. Like, they'll look down on the folks who smoke crack, but if they sniff coke, it's not a problem. Or if they drink liquor and don't crash their car, they're not an addict. They equate substances with levels of acuity of their disease. You know what I mean?
Interesting. So you had decided, so you were in the gangs, you were selling drugs. This is when you had been kicked out of school at this point?
No, the gang started early on. Like, you know, all my family members were, you know, in the gang. And so all I saw was, that's what I wanted to be like. I wanted to just fit in. So it was all about fitting in and connecting to community, right? A lot of people don't understand that, but that was my environment.
Right. Well, I mean, a lot of people actually do understand that, though, and this is why it's so important that you're here to share your story. So, okay, let's take it from you got kicked out of college. You didn't equate that at the time with the substance abuse and the behaviors and the progression of this disease. What was it that said to you? What happened? Or as they say, what was your rock bottom? Because I still don't even really know what your drug of choice was. Like, really, like, what had you really in a chokehold with the addiction?
Opiates. So it took a turn. So I moved, you know, I left the state of Oregon. I'm like, I went to college in California, got kicked out of college, came back here, and then I was like, I need to go somewhere else. My problem ain't me, is the state. You know what I mean?
Okay, still in denial.
Still in denial.
All right.
You know what I mean? Trying to do the geographical change. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna move out to Denver. You know, my dad was out there. Okay. And I moved out to Denver, and I'm like, I'm gonna restart my life and do something different, and got a DUI first week in Denver, you know what I mean? And so they made me do the drug and alcohol classes, and I just wasn't receptive. I wasn't open to it. I was like, I'm not like these people. Like, you know, I got a house, a car, I'm successful. There's nothing wrong with me.
Right, this isn't me.
It got progressive. So I couldn't complete my drug and alcohol classes because I kept drinking. I tried to trick the UA system, like I'm a blow on this day and drink on this day.
Oh, you were really in the throes of it.
The hustle, you know, I thought I could hustle the system, right? So that was the things I was doing. And then I ended up having children, right? So I thought that might change me, right? I had kids and was in this new relationship and was like, okay, cool, I'm away from Portland and the gangs and somehow the same stuff kept happening, right? So
Okay, I think this is a good place real quick to take a break because you do come out on the other side of this, right? So you're here, you have a shirt on that says a lot that we're gonna get into.
Yep.
And so please don't go away. We're gonna be back with Deandre and his story, and we're gonna move into the recovery side on situations and conversations in just a bit. Hang on.
Welcome back to Trey's Top 10. Before the break, Trey Renee reminded us of how important it is for communities to come together and support each other when they're facing addictions. Trey, take us behind the curtain though. When you were kind of recording this episode, what did the audience maybe not see or feel that you experienced?
You know what it is? It's that people were super engaged when they were watching our conversation about this situation. And I think that it's the facial expressions and the body language from watching people. People didn't have a whole lot to say in the moment. I think they were really absorbing and taking in the story and the impact and the realness behind it. You know, real people having conversations about real things. And addiction, I don't care what anybody says, it has touched somebody somewhere, somehow, indirectly, directly, but what are we doing about it and how best can we support those that we love and care about?
Absolutely, and that's why these moments are so magical. This isn't just television, my friends. These are life lessons shaping conversations that ripple through our community and touch everybody in one way or another. So stick around, there's so much more to explore.
But I want to pick up where we left off. We were talking about, or getting into rather, the catalyst for change for you when you finally recognized that you were actually addicted. You had an addiction issue, you had this disease. What was it that took you over to acceptance and change?
I'd say it was, you know, the pain medication got bad. I was being overprescribed pain medicine by the doctors. And then when they cut me off, I thought I had a cold and realized I had physical dependency on this substance. And so
You thought you had a cold.
body was hurting, nose was running. I was like, I got a cold.
So that's like those flu-like symptoms where, you know, people
Exactly.
who aren't familiar,
Right.
if you maybe watch some movies and TV, maybe you see the people shivering
Right,
and
right.
sweating and having, so you started having withdrawal.
Withdrawals. Yeah, that's what we call withdrawals,
Yeah,
right? I didn't
yeah.
know, I didn't have terminology or words for it then, but I was having withdrawal, and the medical system didn't inform me that this was gonna be a thing. They had me on medicine for 3 or 4 months, a high dose of oxycodone, didn't even tell me nothing. So I'm, you know, just going about my regular day, and then I'm sick, I'm not feeling well, and I'm like, what's wrong? I couldn't figure it out until someone else was like, is your arm still broken? And I was like, yep, took something, felt better like that. And I was like, there's a problem.
Okay,
So that's
okay.
when I first knew that there was a problem.
Okay, and then didn't you have some sort of loved one or anybody trying to tell you though that something was an issue?
They always do, right? Loved ones always, they don't understand the predicament. They're like, why are you doing this, right? But there's the denial piece that's like so strong. It's like, ain't nothing wrong with me, something wrong with you. Like, leave me alone, I got it, I'll figure it out. Like, I know what I'm doing. And it got progressive to, you was talking about that point of change. And that point of change for me was, it led me down a road where I abandoned my kids. Now I'm homeless. I'm living on the streets of downtown Portland, and I am not recognizable to who I used to be. And and at that point I knew I had a problem, right? But I didn't know the solution. I didn't know who to go to, what my dilemma was. I just knew I had a problem with drugs, and by that time I had accepted my dilemma. I was like, I don't care if I die. This is just the way it is. Like, my kids don't need me no more. Like, they're better off without me.
Right, you start
Like,
having all those thoughts
Right.
that lead to even more despair and depression and disease.
Yep, and more using because I want to get rid of those thoughts, right? Most folks are using to cope with mental health. That's another thing that I didn't know about was a lot of us have severe mental health from post-traumatic stress. We got PTSD and we're self-medicating, right? And I was self-medicating and didn't know it. Yep.
Wow. So I understand that your aunt helped you.
I'm downtown, my aunt sees me. I hadn't seen her in like 6 years. So she never seen me on drugs. And I bump into her, you know what I mean? And she looks at me and she didn't even know who I was. And so she's crying and I'm like, what you crying for? And for the first time, I saw how bad my life had become. She looked at me and she was crying, and it was like an outer body experience where I switched places and I was looking at me through her eyes. And I was like, oh my God. And then the tears came and I was crying. And they didn't stop. And she asked me did I want help, and I was like, yeah, I do, but I don't know where to go. And she took me to inpatient treatment, and never looked back since.
Thank God. Thank God. But you've turned that pain into progress. Like, you went out and developed your own program. How long have you been sober, clean and sober?
Almost 9 years, so August 14th,
Wow,
2015.
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, we can clap it up for that. That's fantastic.
I appreciate that.
Okay, and so now you're pouring into others. Tell us about your program, Us First Initiatives.
Yeah, so Us First Initiatives really formed in my mind based on my experience. When I was new to recovery, it's hard to navigate the system. It was hard for me to find language to my own problem, and there was no one that looked like me that helped me navigate the system. So, I got into, when I was new in recovery, I started working in the field. I wanted to give back. My experience wasn't just for me, right? I didn't go through all that struggle for me. I went through it so I could help somebody else. God didn't spare me just for me. So that's my mentality. So I'm always giving back. And I wanted to make it easier for people who looked like me and were in similar shoes, right? A lot of black folks land into recovery and don't feel comfortable. They're like, ain't no one look like me. This ain't made for me, and they leave. So that's where Us First Initiatives came from, was from the concept of like for us, by us, and systems that are informed by people with lived experience, right? So I want to develop Us First Initiatives, and that's what I did.
And how long have you had this program?
This has been going on for about a year.
Oh, wow.
We're new.
Okay, so you're kind of in your infancy stages. How's it going?
We got some traction. It's going really good. Last year, we threw the first Black Healing Summit for 55 Black folks in the workforce. We paid for everything. We even gave them $500 a piece, paid for the hotels, and we just did spiritual healing, community talking. We played dominoes, spades, played music, dance. We had yoga.
I love that you brought up something from your childhood,
Yep.
playing the spades and the music and the dancing, but this time normalizing it without all of the substances.
Exactly. Because
love that.
there's a life after drugs, right? Some of us believe that once we get clean, that it's not fun, ain't nothing to do no more.
Right.
And that's not true. And so I wanted to normalize that. And so we had our healing summit. We've been providing housing navigation to over 15 Black folks, getting their rent paid for, getting them into the workforce, all types of stuff.
Wow. So it's interesting that you said this is sort of like for us, by us, and how we as people of color often don't see people like us in these recovery programs.
Right.
But you did see one person that you saw who looked like you, who shared similar experiences, really helped you like connect. And that's what it's really about, right?
It's the most important thing.
Thank you so much, Deandre, for being here, sharing your story, and for your recovery and support efforts, which is what we really want to highlight.
It's an honor.
Yeah, thank you so much.
you.
And thank you to our presenting sponsor, Oregon Health Authority. Information is on your screen. If you or someone you know struggling and you don't know where to turn, you do now, okay? Us First Initiatives. Thanks again, Deandre. All right, we'll be right back with more Situations and Conversations in just a bit. All right, we are back with Situations and Conversations. I'm Trey Renee, and it's time for Hey Trey, that's me, where we discuss the juicy topics that you all want to talk about. So still hanging out is Deandre at the table. We also have my executive producer, Taylor Ford, along with from Bloom Agency, Abibat Durosimi. Okay, so Taylor, do tell what you're bringing to the table.
Is cancel culture a real thing? Like, I know there's a lot of people who make a lot of great music, pretty good athletes, but do we care in terms of like what they do in their personal lives? Some stuff can be taboo, and where do we draw that line where, I'm not rocking with this. I got my own thoughts, but how y'all feel?
Well, then you might as well kick it off, because it sounds like you got something you want to say right now.
Okay, so I get kind of torn with this, because I'm not going to give this man no light because he's in prison. There's a phenomenal R&B artist from the city of Chicago. We're not going to shed no light on his name. Great catalog, but just stuff he's done in his personal life as far as abuse with minors and with women, I just can't rock with that. So I choose at this point in my life not to stream any of his music. But I do struggle sometimes with other people, when they might have, a hiccup here or there where, I'm like, as a man of God, as a Christian, where do I give somebody a second chance? And other times where I'm like, I'm done with you altogether.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say this. I feel like it depends on what the offense is. Okay, because the one you're talking about, we've been knowing. Okay, we knew, and we kind of And so maybe we're even a little bit culpable because we didn't call it out as much as we should have when he was saying even in his songs that he was down with the baby girls. But I lean more toward counsel culture than cancel culture, because I believe that anybody is capable of making a change if they want to. Now, see, with that particular person you're talking about, he went on every outlet on some like, well, how old are you talking about? And
We said teenagers.
And he said, by teenager, what do you mean by that? I mean, come on, man. It's age, and it does matter, and it's not just a number.
Right,
okay, so
right,
like,
that
you know,
part.
somebody like that who just doesn't seem to get it and clearly is always in denial, you know, I'm not rocking with you in my house anymore. But now, somebody like a Will Smith, I'm gonna say his name because you not canceling Will around me. Okay. The brother made a mistake, huge mistake on, oh boy, the biggest public platform. I mean, he was being celebrated at the highest levels for his career and everything. And you know, I don't know what's going on in his marriage. I just know that Will has provided many bops over the years. He's an icon, a trailblazer. He has conquered many areas in the entertainment field. He is a mega, super duper star. And he made a mistake.
It's hard, you know, because a lot of the music that, you know, was played, it was around in my childhood, and sometimes those gives me all the good moods and all of that. But then at the end of the day, like you said, it should be counsel. You know what I mean? Like, just see if they actually have learned their lesson. Like, you know, you got Chris Brown too. You know what I mean? I mean, I feel bad for him. It's like, okay, you were young, that situation. I mean, she even said that, you know, she had her part into it as well.
And if she can forgive him,
yeah.
If she can forgive him, why can't the public seem to forgive him?
Exactly.
Right? What do you think?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, y'all don't want to know what I think. So
So let me put it down.
it depends on how talented you are.
Oh.
Because I'm on the opposite end of it because I still listen to the person you're talking about.
Oh, you're talking about the first person?
Yeah. Do you still stand for the national anthem, knowing all the things that America has done to black people?
But I don't.
But do you still live and benefit in America from it?
Well,
So that's the same thing. We got to call a spade a spade.
this is amazing. I love this conversation, but I think we have another one.
Okay, so
because people really want us to talk about some things.
Yeah, so I did get a DM. Somebody, you know, was a fan of the show. They asked me this, you know, Tay, can you ask Trey this for me? I'm having an issue with my in-laws at this time. You know, love my partner. You know, we've been dating for a few years. I don't know how to approach this situation. Is it on me to try to mediate the situation, or should I ask my spouse or girlfriend, I guess in this situation, to help smooth things over?
Well, okay. Kind of vague, but I'm getting the gist of it. And having, you know, I was married for 20 years, and in-laws are a very real thing to have to, you know, work with. And first of all, it all depends on where your relationship is with them, right? And where your spouse or your significant other or partner's relationship is with them. Some people have a very estranged relationship with their parents or their people. And then you come along as the spouse or the new person, the new partner, and they maybe fully embrace you and still ice out the partner. Right. Well, then, I mean, that's a whole this is dicey. Yeah. And the reason why is because who do you choose first? This is where where is your alignment? That's where you need to start. Are you aligned with your partner? Or are you just trying to also be in good with everybody? Because I can tell you right here, right now, that never works.
Okay. The thing about it is that everybody grows up in a different environment, right? But then you, as a person, choose how you live your life, right? In the future and whatnot, like who you are. So I'm gonna be aligned with the person and my partner. Now, if I feel like they are asking me for advice or for me to, get into their business or whatnot, I'm gonna be like, I don't know your family like that. Like, I can't be in that position. That's on you. Now, if it's affecting our relationship, then that's a different situation. We're all gonna have to come together.
First of all, if it's their family, their issue.
Yeah.
As a partner, don't step in, because guess what? They may always be over here aligned, and then you over here sidestepping, saying something, one false move, and now everybody's against you. Right. And where do you think your spouse partner is going to fall? Right. This is what I'm talking about, alignment. Everybody needs to be in alignment.
Hopefully today you were able to gather some insights and maybe some tips you can apply to your own life and situation. And that's why we're here, to keep building on these conversations together. So don't forget, you can join us every Sunday right here on Portland CW, streaming on the Coin Plus app, and watch the full library anytime on YouTube, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And you can connect with us too, with Trey at The Real Trey Renee.
Yep, that's me.
And with the show, Situations and Conversations. And you'll find me at Jeremiah Stroup, and on Instagram, Twitter, and Jeremiah D. Stroup on TikTok. So, Trey, why don't we keep the conversation going? What should we do leaving this episode to really thrive in our communities?
Educate yourselves even more. I mean, it's not enough to just watch one episode, right? Like, that's a start. But we have to complete this journey, and I think education is key. And then work on your empathy. Really, at the end of the day, that's a muscle that we need to continue utilizing. It's not always automatic. And so that's going to help us go a long way in reaching each one, and each one reach one, each one teach one, you know. You know.
And lead with heart. I love it. Trey, so good being with you. And we'll see you next Sunday for another edition of Trey's Top 10. Until then, stay curious, stay kind, and keep the conversation alive.
Watch Situations and Conversations, Trey's Top 10 with my guy Jeremiah Stroup on Portland CW and streaming on the Coin Plus app, Sundays at noon.